Hey everyone, welcome back and thank you so much for watching this video. Um, we're a year in. We hit the 1 year mark here on this Write Every Day. This is obviously something that I was going out, but if I didn't have at least something of an audience to upload these videos to watch this, I probably would not have continued to do this, at least not in the kind of YouTube fashion. So this is a very heartfelt thank you to those that watch these videos. Um, you keep my motivation going, at least at least the motivation to continue to post these things. So thank you for watching this, and I do hope um, going forward you'll continue to enjoy my content. Uh, but yeah, so 1 year. I've spoken before. I made videos around I think the day 100, 200. I had said on those videos, these are just dates, right? These are simply dates on the calendar. They don't really mean anything to me. I'm not do you know I don't really put too much I guess stock credence in like hitting a certain number. Um, for me, this has been simply a philosophy. It's been a training philosophy. No different than if someone was training for any other activity, be it exercise, athletics, an activity. It's simply a training program. And for me, that was writing every day. When I had started this last year, the hope was and the plan was, hey, I'm gonna do this for like 30 days. I'm gonna do 30 days, 60 days, maybe 90 days of this. I'm going to reassess. I'm going to see, has my writing improved? Has my productivity improved? Have I gotten more things out there into the world? Have I noticed a difference in my writing? Has my attitude towards my goals and my writing changed because of this? And the answer was going to be no. If I didn't see any benefit, I was going to stop. So this whole thing really was just a giant science experiment just to see if this was going to work, and also a way of getting me out of my slump. I've spoken before about how I was in this time last year. I was coming out of a very, very kind of dark time for myself. This was just a way to get me back into the writing seat and just to try it out, just to see if this works. Um, Writing every day is kind of something that people talk about in the writing field. A lot of advice will tell you, hey, show up every day and write. To be honest, and I've said this before, most writers, especially professional ones, don't actually do this. There's not a lot of writers that actually do write every single day. Many authors, they write sporadically. They take time off in between books and projects. They don't actually go at it every day. If you were to go through like your Barnes Noble and see how many days a week an author writes and how many days in a year an author writes, you'd find that it's probably the average author. It's probably not as much as you might think. Um, But I took the advice. I took it and I applied it, and it's worked well for me. And so I view this for myself just as a sort of training philosophy, and that's basically what I intend to go forward with. So going into this next year, it's nothing's going to change. As long as I'm writing, I'm approaching this as an everyday thing. So I'm very happy to at least continue with this process, and I'm hoping I make a video this time next year saying, "Hey, year two of this went just as well." But yeah, that's as far as like I guess a reflection upon the first year of this process. That was the big takeaway. It was just the fact that I noticed my writing improved and the quality of my baseline and my prose went up. Many people, when they write every day, it tends to fluctuate a bit. They'll write, they'll have maybe 2 or 3 days of good writing, bunch of days of bad writing, then go back and forth. There's very little baseline. When I approach the write every day philosophy, that's one thing I've noticed, that I've had a pretty consistent baseline of prose quality, and then some ups and downs and variances throughout that. But overall, the prose has been pretty accurate, um, and or pretty, I guess, consistent would be the word. So that has been like the big benefit of doing it. I don't suggest that everybody do it. Some people cannot, but in general, writing as frequently as you can, consistently, is what's going to probably give you the results that you want. Um, it's it's a very simple idea, but it's not easy to apply for sure. But yeah, that's going to be me going into the next year. Just continue this. Nothing really changes. I've spoken in my New Year's Eve or my New Year's Day video about how going into this year, I have kind of a couple of goals. The three main goals are going to be the self-publishing of that one book, continuing to query my other novel, and then working on the short story collection that I'm actually writing right now. Those are the three, I guess, writing-related goals for my year. So everything's going to revolve around those different facets, and I'm hoping that basically by the next year I make this video, I've gotten a lot more out there. My main feeling, the main thing that has not worked as far as doing this right every day, is that it's gotten me very well at the habit of writing. It has not gotten me very well at execution, at actually getting the work out there, at publishing work, at getting others to see it and promote it, to just getting it out to the masses. Unfortunately, it's a two different sides of the thing. You have the creative side of the thing of generating the work, making the work, and writing, which is great. Then you have to execute, and a lot of that is overcoming your own self doubts. Unfortunately, it's the insecurities that you might face. It's that sort of perfectionism that you might feel, which is really just insecurity masked. It's that worry that others are going to see your work and they're going to hate it, right? You can write every single day and tinker with the same story for a year, and if no one ever sees it, you haven't produced, right? You haven't executed on that. You haven't actually achieved your goal. You're more or less just wasting time. Yes, you can still build your skill by tinkering with a story, but for the most part, if you're not sending it out there, you have achieved nothing. You've got nothing out there. And so for myself, that has been, I guess, my big failing in a sense, right? Is that I haven't executed. The world has not seen my work, basically. And so that's going to be the main focus of the next year. But with that being said, that tends to be separate, right? I just said that's separate from the writing every day. That's separate from showing up at the keyboard. I feel like at this point I'm able to do it consistently. And so I think if someone is looking to maybe go through this process and to kind of go through this evolution of I guess the writing process, starting at the beginning of writing every day is awesome. But there's going to come a time when I think you have to focus more on producing, on actually getting the work out there, on executing on these projects, which means setting a date, saying this story is done on this date, and I'm sending it off. I'm sending it to magazines, editors, agents, whatever. That is the next level of this. And so the next year, that's my goal. That's going to be, I think, the main part of the Write Every Day, I guess, philosophy, if you want to call it that I'm going to focus more on, in addition to actually showing up and actually doing the prose writing for hopefully 90 minutes. I made a video the other day as well, talk about how I plan to continue to write this year for 90-minute sessions. Again, producing. In the case of 90 minutes, putting more content out, right, in a single session, right, getting more content completed. That's what it's all about. It's all about executing. Once you have the habit down of showing up and you can do it consistently over a period of time, and you don't have to fight, to get to the keyboard. You don't have to fight that procrastination anymore. Then at that point, it's a matter of execution. So that is my goal for the next year. I suppose having kind of like final reflection on just doing this for a year, it was tough. There were periods of time when it was very difficult, where I just got, just the bare minimum. And there have been days I can think of right now, off the top of my head, that were difficult. Right, the day of my chess tournament, when I was playing chess for like 10 hours, and I came home and my mind was on fire, and I could just barely get a couple sentences done. I had a couple of days where there were some family emergencies, where I just got a couple hours, not even hours, but I got a couple words down on the page. Just called it a day for that, because I had to get something down. But life got in the way of getting a real serious session in. That's going to happen as well. So it was not the easiest thing in the world to achieve. But at this point, it'd be difficult for me to leave it, which I guess is the final thing I want to go over, which is, yes, I'm going to continue because it's a good philosophy, but it's difficult to leave it. It would be difficult for me to stop now. If I were to stop, if I were to take like today off, like the next day or two off, I probably wouldn't go back to the keyboard for a while. It would probably take me about a week, at least potentially a month, and realistically, it would be over a month. Even though at least probably a week to get back to the keyboard, but that would turn into, well, yeah, but I got some other things coming up here. Another week goes by, and it would be a month at least, and that's kind of the shaky nature of writing. That's something that I think people need to recognize, if you have that kind of personality, especially like mine, where you're a strong writer maybe, but you have a difficult time being consistent with it. If that is the case, I would encourage those to stick with a program like this where you are doing it every day. Because if I was to take a day off and was to kind of build up, right, it's a bit like someone that maybe has been like sober, maybe you haven't drank alcohol in 20 years, and like one bad day happens and all of a sudden, you miss your AA meeting, whatever, basically a bad day happens and that temptation comes and you go right back to it, right? It's the same thing with procrastination. Obviously, never going to compare something serious as, like an addiction to like just simply writing, right? But it's the same idea, right? Like one bad day, one missed session, and it unravels. The whole thing can unravel. All your progress really could get set back a ton, and it takes so much work to get back on track. Um, and so that's, if you're like that, if you've tried to write before and you've had that sort of same experience, writing every day might be the might be the thing to do. Um, Seeing how long you can do it consistently, that might be an idea worth pursuing. Because yeah, at this point I could not stop. It'd be very difficult for me to stop, and it would, if I was to all of a sudden like tomorrow not do it, I'm betting my goals for the rest of them would never get finished. The rest of this month, I would probably do nothing, and I would go into next month and be like, and maybe like spend a day or two trying to get some work done, stop, and then maybe like by March, I might maybe get back to it again. It's difficult. It's a shaky process, and it's built on this very fragile sort of foundation here. And what keeps that foundation stable is the fact that you are consistently going after it, that you don't give any chance for any kind of doubt, or any that I guess what Stephen Pressfield would call the resistance. You don't give that resistance a chance to come in. Um, that's what it takes, and that's, again, for me, that's what I found has worked, is just the fact that being consistent, I don't have temptation anymore. Um, I don't have like that need to not write, or that desire to like avoid the keyboard anymore, which I used to have. Just because it's such a part of me now. It's like a fit person going to the gym every day. You don't think about it, you just go because that's what you do. There's no more like worry that you don't have to fight yourself to do it. I hope I don't sound too much I hope I don't sound too much like some cultist trying to get people to join, like, their secret society, or their self help program here. But just reflecting on 1 year of doing something as simple as just writing every day as a writer, um, this has been the benefit, and this is kind of why I'm going to continue with that process. I can't at this point stop doing this. So I do hope you all found that helpful. If you're considering this, I suppose I was the test dummy. I guess I was the guinea pig in a way, to see what would happen if you did this for 1 year. I hope maybe I persuade you a little bit to go this pathway if you're the kind of person that might benefit from it. Again, not everyone will. Not everyone needs it. There are some people, I think, that are more strong-willed, that are able to be more consistent with their writing by taking days off and continuing. I'm simply not that person. So if you maybe are a bit like me, maybe have experienced kind of the same troubles, give this process a try. I would say try it for like 90 days, see if you can do it. And if you can, I imagine the amount of work that you'll have gotten done in that time will be absolutely phenomenal. Um, and so with that, I'm going to sign off now, and I will see you all tomorrow.